Congratulations and welcome to your new Pontiac Bonneville. Built for drivers, your new Bonneville is an outstanding example of design excellence and powerful performance.
Hi there, I'm Sarah.
And hello, I'm Brian.
Pontiac has asked us to make you feel right at home in your new Bonneville, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
Your Bonneville is filled with an incredible assortment of innovative features, accessories, and an attitude that kicks into gear on the open road.
From the state-of-the-art audio system with RDS technology to the advanced electronic ABS braking system, as well as the optional driver information center, your Bonneville is the kind of car that drivers dream about.
Over the next little while, we'll take a closer look at some of your vehicle's main features and offer some suggestions on how to adjust your new Bonneville to make it uniquely your own.
But before we go any further, we have to emphasize the importance of safety. For this reason, if you're listening to this CD in your new Bonneville, you need to be sure that your vehicle is parked in a comfortable and secure place like your driveway, with the engine off, the ignition in the on position, and the transmission in park.
If at any point in this CD you'd like to take a moment to review or practice setting functions, you can pause the CD by pressing the power button to turn the radio off. Press the power button again, and the CD will pick up from right where you left off.
You can maneuver through this CD by pressing the up or down arrows on the seat control to either advance to the next track or go back to the one you'd like to hear again. If you want to fast forward or reverse within a track, simply press and hold either the double forward or double backwards arrows. These arrows are located on the buttons, also numbered 1 and 4 respectively.
But for now, sit back, relax, and take a deep breath of that new car smell while we let you know how you can make your new Bonneville distinctively your own. Hey, we all know there's a couple of absolute must-do things to take care of when you first get into your new Bonneville. And one of them is adjusting the seats to just the right position.
And depending on whether you've got manual seats or the optional power seat package, the right position to be in is one where you can comfortably apply enough pressure to the brake pedal to allow it to fully depress.
Before we can move the seats, though, you may first have to adjust the height of your steering wheel.
To do this, simply find the lever on the left side of the steering wheel, pull it towards yourself, and move the wheel to the height that's right for you.
Now, if you've got manually controlled seats, pull the control bar up, located just under the front of your seat, to unlock the seat's position. While still holding the control bar up, slide the seat either forwards or backwards, and then release the control bar to lock it back into the spot that you want. Then, try to move the seat back and forth again to make sure you're securely in place.
For those of you with the power seat option, the controls are the two well-sized and easy-to-operate horizontal and vertical levers located just below your thigh on the side of the seat closest to the door. Why don't you take a second to move your seat back and then forwards? You'll hear a slight sound as the seat motor moves you into place.
You can then move the whole seat either higher or lower by pushing the whole horizontal control lever either up or down.
And if you would like to adjust either the front or back angle of the seat, simply apply pressure to either the front edge or rear edge of the horizontal control.
So in effect, with the power seat option, you have the ability to control both the pitch and the height of the seat to suit your exacting needs.
For manual seats, the mechanism to recline the seat is located on the outboard side of the seat. Simply lift the lever, move your seat back to a comfortable position, and then release the lever to lock your seat back in place.
With the power seat option, you can adjust the recline angle of your seat by applying either forward or rearward pressure to the vertical control. Try it out to see how smooth and easy the response is.
Either way, you can individualize your seating experience to suit your own exacting needs. And that makes a big difference if you're only 5 feet tall like me and have a husband who's over 6 feet.
And let's not forget about the lumbar control that comes with your new Bonneville. It's a great feature that allows you to adjust the support that your lower back gets when you're driving.
If you have the manual version of the lumbar support, you'll find it on the outboard side of the front seats. It's a star-shaped knob, and all you have to do is turn it to move the support into the position that's best for you.
If you have the power version, the control is also located on the outboard side of each front seat. To increase the lumbar support, press the circular control button with the 4 dimples forward. To decrease the support, press it rearward.
You can also adjust the height of the power lumbar support either higher or lower by pressing the same dimpled control button either up or down.
No matter which version of the lumbar support you have, remember that as you shift your position in your seat, You may want to occasionally stop your vehicle and adjust the position of your lumbar support to maximize your comfort. And this is especially true on long trips.
Next, once you're seated in a comfortable position, it's time to set your mirrors. The inside rearview mirror is pretty simple to figure out because all you have to do is grip the mirror in the center and angle it either up or down or side to side.
And adjusting the position of the outside mirrors is even easier because the controls for them are located on the driver's side door armrest. Just look for the circular button with the 4 arrows and a horizontal selector switch located right beneath it marked with the letters L and R.
To adjust the mirror on the driver's side, push the selector down to the L side. Then use the circular pad to position the mirror to where it's right for you. For the passenger side, simply switch the selector over to the R side, and then use the circular pad to adjust it.
When you're finished positioning both mirrors, simply move the selector switch back to the center position to prevent any inadvertent mirror movement.
Next, let's look at an option that I really appreciate, especially in the winter.
Let me guess, Sarah, you're talking about heated seats?
You know it. And if your Bonneville has the heated seat option, the buttons to operate them are located on the instrument panel just under the climate controls. When you press the button on, the heated seat feature automatically activates the high setting. This quickly raises the seat back and cushion temperature of the seat to slightly above body temperature.
Press it on again and it shifts into the low heat mode and maintains the seat's temperature right near normal body temperature. Press it off and it turns the system off. The small yellow light right above the heated seat button lets you know whether the heated seat feature is on high, low, or off.
And of course, the heated seat option only works when the ignition is turned on. So if the ignition's turned off, so are the seats.
And while we're talking about options, here's where we have to take a small step sideways for a moment for those people who have the optional Power Seat, Power Mirror, Recall Radio Settings memory package.
If you opted for this package for your new Bonneville, you will have also received a couple of keyless entry remotes, otherwise known as key fobs. If you did, you would have received a black remote access control with each of your 2 sets of keys.
You'll notice that each key fob has a number molded into its back that distinguishes it as being either key fob number 1 or number 2. The reason for this is that so the 2 individual drivers can each be given their own and unique key fob. And that's going to prove to be very helpful for this next part. So choose which key fob you want to be yours.
Now that you've determined which key fob driver you are, you have to let your Bonneville know as well. And to do this, press the number 1 or 2 on the driver door panel memory pad that corresponds to the number molded onto the back of your personally numbered key fob. Or, just as simply, you can press the unlock feature on your own key fob.
So, for example, I've got key fob number 1 and my wife's got key fob number 2. By each of us using our own unique key fob, our Bonneville is able to recognize which one of us is driving and what our specific preferences are.
Here's a quick example of how to set your own individual preferences. First, adjust the seat and lumbar positions to suit your own needs, and then adjust both outside mirrors. Now, simply press and hold in the same key fob number you first selected on the memory pad for 3 full seconds until you hear 2 confirmation beeps. And that's it. Your preferences are locked in. In fact, with the memory package, your radio settings will even follow the preferences of either driver number 1 or driver number 2, as designated by your own unique key fob.
The second driver with the second key fob can now do exactly the same thing by following the same steps, only this time using their own specific key fob designation.
So when you want to recall your own unique driving position, make sure that your vehicle is in park, and then push in and release the memory button that corresponds with your key fob number, or, the really simple way, just press the unlock feature on your key fob before you get into your car, and your seat will move to your preset position.
But that's not all you can do. To set up an exit position for your seat, to make it easier for you to get in and out of your car, first press either the number 1 or number 2 memory pad button that corresponds to your key fob number.
Then, adjust the driver's seat to your desired exit position, and then press in and hold the exit button on the memory panel for a full 3 seconds until you hear 2 confirmation beeps.
To then activate the exit seating position, your vehicle must be in park, and all you have to do is press in and release the exit button on the memory pad. A signal beep will let you know that your seat is about to move.
And if for any reason you haven't preset an exit position for yourself, if you press the exit button on the door pad and your vehicle's in park, the seat will move all the way back. If you ever want to stop the seat from moving, simply press any of the controls for the power seat located on the side of your seat.
Talk about smart thinking. But as a quick note, if you have the optional Driver Information Center or DIC, you have to enable your seat setting before they will work. We'll tell you how to do this a little later on in the section devoted to the DIC. But for now, you can find out more about these features in Section 1 and 2 of your owner's manual.
Comfort, though, Brian, is really only half of the driving experience. Safety is just as important, if not more so.
No question about it. So let's look at some of your Pontiac Bonneville safety features, like the seat belts, child comfort guides, and the airbag system.
Did you know that the proper way to wear a seatbelt is with the lower strap resting snugly across your hips and just touching the top of your thighs, with the shoulder strap crossing right across the center of your chest?
I did see that little tidbit in Section 1 of the owner's manual.
Then maybe you also noticed that the Bonneville comes equipped with what I like to think of as smart seatbelts, because they incorporate at least two really ingenious safety mechanisms. First off, if you've ever pulled either really hard or quickly on the belt, like in those times when you're changing its adjustment, you've probably noticed that it locks into place and won't let you pull it out any further.
I've had that happen, and the only way I could unlock it was by releasing the belt back into its compartment and then slowly pulling it out again.
Exactly, and that's a safety feature. You see, your belt is reacting just as it would in an emergency situation, by locking itself in place to make sure you stay secure.
That is a smart feature. And along those same lines, I also know that the seat belts on your Bonneville employ a mechanism that cinches in the belt in emergency situations.
Right, and this feature makes the belt a tad more snug and really helps by working to make sure that you stay put.
And did you know that wearing a seatbelt isn't only an incredibly safe thing to do to protect yourself and your loved ones, but it's also the law in most every state?
And speaking of loved ones, let's take a moment to find out how to help better protect the smaller members of your family with Pontiac's Child Comfort Guides.
The Child Comfort Guides are the black shoulder belt guides that are located at the outside edge of each passenger position in the back seat. Because they're really only meant to be used for the comfort of smaller passengers or for children who've outgrown their booster seats, Pontiac has thoughtfully placed them in the small side pocket of the rear seat back in between the back support and the car's frame.
They really are a useful addition because they change and improve the position of the shoulder part of the seat belt by moving it away from a smaller person's neck and head.
We should also mention that your new Pontiac Bonneville comes complete with front driver and passenger airbags, with driver and passenger side impact airbags available as optional equipment on SE and SLE models, but standard on GXPs.
If you'd like to learn any more about your seats, seat belts, child comfort guides, or airbags, consult your owner's manual under the heading Seats and Restraint Systems. Now let's talk about the driver interface, or in simpler terms, anything in the car that conveys information to the driver, like the instrument panel, indicator lights, warning lights, gauges, and even the radio's display area.
It's just another example of Pontiac's dedication to extending the life of your vehicle by keeping you informed and secure.
Did you know, for example, that each and every time that you turn on your Bonneville, it performs a complete diagnostic check of all the vehicle's normally monitored systems?
It's called a system check, and it performs a variety of basic functions like checking your brakes, your anti-lock brakes, your airbag system, and a whole lot more.
And you can see this happening when you turn on the ignition and all the system warning lights temporarily light up. It's just one of the intelligent ways that your Bonneville keeps you informed that it's working for you.
And along these lines, your new Bonneville may also be equipped with the optional Systems Monitor.
This optional feature takes your Bonneville's normal system check one step further by checking your oil level, your tire pressure, your gauges, as well as your doors and trunk to make sure that they're fully closed.
Along with these features, the Systems Monitor package also offers an English metric conversion button and a trip reset button located to the right of the instrument panel.
And while we're on the subject of optional features, your vehicle may also be equipped with a Driver Information Center, or DIC.
For those of you who have this option, we have a couple of tracks devoted exclusively to it a little later on.
It's no wonder your Pontiac stands apart from the pack. Why, did you know that your Bonneville even has an intelligent fuel cap?
Talk about looking after even the little things. If the fuel cap isn't put back on, or if it's put back on incorrectly, the Service Engine Soon message will eventually light up after your fuel system performs a self-diagnostic test. And that's usually within the next 3 times that you start up your vehicle.
So one of the first things you should do when you see the Service Engine Soon message light up is to check your fuel cap. And this is especially true if you've recently stopped for a fill-up.
So whether you're filling up the tank yourself or going to a full-service station, when your fuel cap is put back on, you need to make sure it gets turned to the right until you hear a clicking sound. And what you want to hear is ideally a minimum of 3 good clicks.
Your new Bonneville will also be alerting you to a number of other key maintenance and safety issues as they arise through a variety of indicator lights on your instrument panel.
Messages on the instrument panel will let you know about various things, like if you're low on fuel.
And that's handy. But there's one other really intelligent thing that your Bonneville can do, and that's to help you make sure that your battery never drains all the way down.
And while a drained battery is usually not a serious problem, it can most certainly be inconvenient. That's why your Bonneville comes equipped with a feature that will automatically turn off your headlights and your interior lights after 10 minutes should you forget to turn them off yourself after you've turned the ignition off.
Now that's smart.
And just in case you're wondering, your auxiliary outlets can be found directly behind the center seat console facing the rear seats and behind the slider in the overhead console, unless you opted for the optional sunroof.
Now let's talk about cruise control and how you can keep your speed constant and your gas consumption steady. The controls for the cruise controls are located on the lever on the left side of the steering wheel. To activate the cruise control, you first have to move the switch position to on.
Once you've reached your desired speed, push in on the end of the lever to set your speed. Then, take your foot off the gas, and that's it. Remember though, the on switch only lets the cruise control system know that you're about to use it. To engage the cruise control speed that you want, you then have to press in the set button.
There are a couple of ways to disengage from cruise control. The first is to step lightly on the brake, and the second is to move the cruise control switch to the off position.
As we've already mentioned the lever to the left of the steering wheel, let's take a second to talk about the one to the right. This is where your windshield wiper controls are located, and this separation of these two features provides an added layer of security and convenience.
Your wipers are really pretty simple to use. To turn them on to the intermittent position, simply move the lever up one notch from the off position and adjust the INT-ADJ band.
For the low setting, push it up once more. And for high-speed wiping, push the lever all the way up.
For a quick wipe to eliminate mist, push the wiper lever down and then release it. Hold it down longer for more wipes.
Now, in and of itself, the wiper control isn't all that unusual except for this additional feature. If your windshield wipers are on for more than 6 seconds while you're driving, the low-beam headlamps, instrument panel backlighting, and your tail lamps will all turn on.
It's another great Pontiac feature designed to maximize your safety.
Another handy feature located just below and to the left of the steering wheel is the Twilight Sentinel. This feature automatically turns your headlamps off after a preset length of time.
To operate the Twilight Sentinel, push in the knob to bring it to its full length, and then turn the delay knob fully clockwise to set the full 3-minute delay. To reduce the delay, simply turn the knob counterclockwise. If you want to turn the feature off, simply turn the knob all the way to the off position. You can then push the knob in again to return it to its stowed position.
Oh, and it's possible that with the Twilight Sentinel active, your headlamps may go out if you drive from a dark place into a well-lit place like a parking garage. If this happens, simply turn on your headlights.
And while we're in the general area, your fog lamp control is located right below the Twilight Sentinel. If these lights are on, a button will glow beside this switch and your parking lights will automatically come on.
And as an additional thought, your fog lights will be disabled if you use either your high beams or the flash to pass feature.
Your vehicle also features daytime running lights. This lighting safety feature ensures that for the periods after dawn and before sunset that your headlight system will activate. A light sensor on top of the instrument panel monitors the available light and controls this feature, so please make sure that nothing covers it.
Your daytime running lights feature only operates when your ignition is on, the exterior lamp control is turned off, and you're not in park. Then, when it becomes dark enough outside, your regular intensity headlights will come on at full brightness, and the daytime running lights will turn off.
And lastly, while your Bonneville features many useful console displays, like the tachometer, the engine temperature gauge, and oil pressure gauge, your car may also feature one extra optional display that will provide you with a whole new second set of ways to check your speed, see your turn indicators, check for your high beams, give you a check gauges message, warn you about low fuel, as well as provide you with some radio information.
Here, of course, we're talking about the optional heads-up display, otherwise known as HUD. HUD is an information screen that appears on the windshield. You'll see it as a driver by looking straight ahead of the steering wheel towards the front of the bumper.
With the ignition key turned on, all HUD images can be clearly seen in a large variety of lighting conditions. In fact, the only time that they can never be seen is if you happen to be wearing polarized sunglasses.
The controls for the HUD are located to the left of the steering wheel, where you're able to not only adjust the intensity of the image, but also position the display either up or down to provide you with the best possible viewing angle.
I really like this feature because it lets me keep my eyes on the road. But just remember that as the lighting conditions outside change, you may have to occasionally adjust the intensity of the display.
And while we're thinking about things to remember, please keep in mind that when it comes time to clean the heads-up display, never, ever spray anything directly on it. Use a clean cloth that has been dampened with a glass cleaner, and then dry the unit when you're finished.
And be sure to clean the inside of your windshield while you're at it. After all, dirt, dust, or filmy residue will diminish the visibility characteristics of your HUD.
To find out more about your Bonneville's instrument panel, driver's interface, and some other basic features, please feel free to consult with the section of your owner's manual titled The Instrument Panel. All right, now that you're comfortable and familiar with some of your Bonneville's features, let's get to the important business of setting our clock and checking out the radio.
It's just one of those simple things that lets you get the feel of your car. Besides, there really is nothing quite like driving your new Bonneville to the sounds of your favorite music, especially on your new state-of-the-art AM, FM, XM, RDS radio with CD player.
And best of all, it's a piece of cake to use because Pontiac has all of the radio's buttons, knobs, and visual displays arranged into simple, easy-to-see and use rows.
Even if you've ordered the optional cassette tape player, your new RDS-enabled radio will have all of the following buttons.
On the left side of the radio control panel, you'll find the power and volume knob, and directly above that, you'll see the visual display. The rest of the buttons are pretty straightforward.
So let's dive right in and set the clock. You can do this with the engine either on or off, and all you'll be using are the HR and MIN buttons. To set the hour, simply press and hold the hour button until the correct hour appears.
To set the correct time for minutes, simply press and hold the minutes button until you get to the minutes that you want. Take your finger off the button, and that's it.
There is another way to set the time as well if you're in a radio data system or RDS broadcast area, and that's to simply hold in both the hour and the minute buttons simultaneously until a message appears on your visual display that says Time Updated. RDS stations broadcast the time once every 30 seconds, so you may have to hold the buttons in for a few moments until the time signal is sent.
If you should happen to see instead a message that reads No Update, that means that your area of the country isn't serviced by an RDS broadcast station that broadcasts time signals, so you'll have to set the time manually.
That really was simple enough.
Well, ease of use and simplicity is what Pontiac's all about.
In fact, using and setting up the radio is almost as easy as setting the clock.
For example, turning the system on or off is as effortless as pressing in the power volume button. To adjust the volume, just turn the knob.
To select AM, FM1, the second set of FM bands, FM2, or the optional XM1 and XM2 bands, press the Band button to make your choice. The radio's visual display will show you which one you've selected.
To tune to a station on the AM or FM bands, simply turn the Tune Select RCL knob to the station frequency that you want. Keep in mind, though, depending on the broadcast power of the originating AM or FM station that you're listening to, as well as the effect that high buildings, hillsides, or overhead power lines can have in blocking out signals, the clarity of your reception may occasionally be affected.
And while you have your fingers on the Tune Select RCL knob, you can switch the visual display from between the time of day and station frequency information to time of day and RDS information. To do this, simply push the Tune Select RCL knob until the station's desired RDS information is displayed, and this will appear as either the station's call letters or as the program type. Now hold the Tune Select RCL button in for 2 seconds until the beep is heard, and just like that, the visual display will show the time of day and desired RDS information.
Your Bonneville's radio can also let you find the next stations up or down the dial without having to take your eyes off the road by pressing the Seek button. A simple press either up or down, and you can find the next clear station on the dial.
To scan through all the available stations, press and hold in the Seek button for about 2 full seconds until the word Scan appears on your visual display and you hear a beep.
Your radio will then go from one clear station to another, letting you hear a small sample of what's being played. To stop the radio from scanning, simply press the Seek button once more.
Now let's find out how to use the preset buttons.
You can preset up to 18 different stations, 6 on the AM band, 6 on FM1, and another 6 on FM2, as well as an additional 12 stations on XM1 and XM2, if you have this optional feature, for a total of 30 presets.
We'll tell you more about XM radio a little later on.
To set the stations to your presets, you first have to press the band button to select AM, FM1, FM2, XM1, or XM2. Next, turn the Tune Select RCL knob until you find the radio station that you want. Or, alternatively, press the Seek button until you get to a station that you like.
But hold on, because here's another feature that makes your Bonneville uniquely yours. Once you've chosen the station that you want to stop on, press the EQ button. This will let you select the bass and treble equalization levels that you want for the different types of stations that you might be listening to.
You can adjust the bass and treble by pressing the Tone button until bass, mid, or treb appears on the display. When you've got the one you want, turn the Tune Select RCL knob until the levels you want are established.
Now to continue with presetting your station, press and hold in one of the preset buttons numbered 1 through 6. Do this until a confirming beep sound is heard. And that's it. You've just set your first preset station.
And best of all, it's been programmed with the type of bass and treble balance that you want to match the type of station that you're listening to.
If you want to adjust the fade and balance levels in your car, simply press in and release either the bal or fade button until they appear on the visual display. Then, just like before, all you have to do is turn the Tune Select RCL knob to set your desired preferences.
So now that we've covered how to move around the basic radio dial, let's talk a little about those times when you want to put in your own CDs.
When you put a CD into your radio, you do it label side up by gently placing the CD partway into the CD slot. The player itself will then take the CD from you and pull it in. And remember, your CD will stay inside the radio until you press the eject button to release it.
When you're playing your CD, the track number will appear on the display. To skip either forward or backwards within an individual track of the CD, simply press either the forward double arrows or the backwards double arrows. You'll be able to zip through to the exact spot on a track that you want in no time.
If you want to skip from one track on a CD to another, simply press the Seek button either up or down.
And if you want to randomly mix up the order of the songs on the CD that you're playing, simply press the RDM3 or Random button.
By pressing the Tune Select RCL knob, you'll be able to see for how long a track's been playing.
And while your CD player can, for the most part, function with CDs that you've created and burned yourself, please keep in mind that these CDs may not perform as well as you'd like as a result of the varying quality of the individual CD burners and recordable discs.
When you want to go back to listening to the radio but want to leave the CD in until another time, just press the band button and your CD will stop playing and you'll immediately be able to hear the radio.
Now, if you just happen to have upgraded to a few more of the optional bells and audio whistles for your new Pontiac, you probably have a second set of controls for your audio system on your steering wheel.
This makes it easy to keep both hands on the wheel, using your fingertips to handle all the basic radio functions.
But watch out for those tapping finger moments. Those are the times, like when you're turning a sharp corner, when you might accidentally change one of your radio settings from the steering wheel, like the volume or the station.
Another outstanding piece of technology on your new Bonneville's radio is the Speed Compensated Volume feature, or SCV. With SCV, your audio system adjusts automatically to make up for road noise. As you accelerate your speed, the radio becomes louder. As you slow down, the radio becomes quieter until it reaches the original level that you set with the volume knob.
As with many of the other functions on your new Bonneville, you can customize its settings to suit your own tastes. In fact, to change your speed-compensated volume settings, press the SCV button to your desired preference of off, min, medium, or max.
And while we're on the subject of volume, your Bonneville's radio system has been finely tuned and engineered to provide overall fidelity and even tonal balance. So if you should ever happen to crank the bass all the way up, your speaker system may tend to vibrate, as it's been designed for balanced harmonics. To eliminate any distortion that may occur, simply return the bass to a more neutral setting.
Perhaps one of the more exciting features of your radio is that it comes complete with cutting-edge RDS, or Radio Data System technology. This system utilizes all of your radio's usual buttons, including the 3 lower right buttons that read Info, Prog Type, and Traf.
Pontiac's RDS-equipped radios use digital signals transmitted by FM broadcasters using the latest in signal technology to supply information directly to your radio's visual display, such as song titles, radio call letters, and automatic traffic bulletins.
RDS is one of those great Pontiac features that's always on, but keep in mind that it's only functional when you're tuned to an FM radio station broadcasting in RDS, and not all FM stations are able to do that just yet.
And while RDS is incredible for those FM-enabled stations, AM stations just don't have the bandwidth needed to carry the extra digital signals. So when you're listening to an AM station, you'll never get RDS information supplied to your radio. The AM radio waves just can't do it.
But when you're listening to an RDS-equipped FM station, the added advantages are enormous.
So, if you're tuned into an RDS station, you'll immediately be able to see the RDS station frequency or program type, as well as any additional information it may be broadcasting.
To take full advantage of RDS technology to be able to find exactly the type of music you're looking for, please refer to the section titled The Instrument Panel in your owner's manual.
But for now, the radio station that you're listening to may have a special RDS message that it wants you to know about. This message is from the RDS broadcaster to the listening public and typically consists of general information such as an artist name, song title, or call-in phone numbers. That's when the word info will appear on your radio's visual display. Pressing the info button here will allow you to scroll through the message until a new message is received, or you change the station.
If Traf appears in your visual display, the station you're listening to broadcasts traffic news and reports. Keep in mind that the RDS system has a traffic interrupt feature activated on your radio. What this does is allows RDS traffic reports to interrupt the playing of your CD or radio station, or even be heard if your radio is muted, to provide you with an up-to-the-minute traffic report.
So if you're listening to a song and it's interrupted by a traffic report, that's because your radio has been set to receive these traffic updates. If you'd rather not receive these notifications, all you have to do is press the Traf button once more until the Traf bracket icon disappears.
One of the most exciting and talked about features of the RDS system is the alert warning. This type of announcement warns of a national or local emergency and can often provide essential information in times of crisis. Because of the importance of the safety alert system, this feature can never be turned off.
Oh, and as a final thought, we also need to mention one other option that your Bonneville radio allows you to access.
And that's XM, satellite radio. It's new, it's exciting, and it's radio like you've never heard before.
XM is digital radio, and that means both spectacular sound quality and the ability to receive text messages similar to those found in RDS from a selection of more than 100 coast-to-coast stations.
XM programming includes music, news, sports, talk, local traffic and weather where these two are available, as well as children's programming. And because the signal comes from a satellite and is augmented by a ground-based repeater network, instead of from old-fashioned radio towers, you can listen to the same satellite radio channel anywhere in the continental United States, not just in your local area. XM uses the same category search functions as RDS, and also shows an artist's name and song title on the radio display.
XM radio is a pay-for-use service just like your cell phone or cable television. If your vehicle is equipped with the XM radio option, you can access it just like any other band on your radio.
To order or activate XM service, tune to the XM preview station and follow the directions there. And then, sit back and enjoy all of the incredible advantages that XM digital satellite radio has to offer.
XM is the future of radio, and there's a whole lot more you can find out about it if you visit their website at www.xmradio.com.
To find out more about your Bonneville's radio, kindly consult your Getting to Know Your Bonneville booklet as well as your owner's manual in Section 3, titled The Instrument Panel. Did you know that as a security feature of your new Bonneville, your ignition key has a Pass Key 3 passive security activation system?
What this means is that embedded in your ignition key itself is a small transponder that delivers a security signal to your car's ignition system. And because it's passive, you don't have to do anything to benefit from it. The way it works is that if someone is using an improper key to try to start your car, the starter won't work, and the fuel will simply stop being delivered to your engine.
It's a great security feature. Because the transponder is embedded in the key, you need to remember that if you ever should lose or damage your ignition key, you'll need to visit your local GM dealer so they can cut and reprogram a new one to match your vehicle's specific security codes.
What I consider to be one of the best advances in your new Bonneville is that little key-related option that GM likes to call the key fob.
The key fob is the name for the optional keyring-held transmitter that lets you remotely lock and unlock your vehicle doors and trunk, sound an alarm, as well as trigger many of your personalization features.
Each vehicle is provided with 2 individual key fobs, and these key fobs each have the number 1 or 2 embossed into their backs. And this numbering distinction is an important one, as each key fob is meant to be used by one specific and individual driver.
In fact, this designation of drivers as either driver number 1 with key fob number 1 or driver number 2 with key fob number 2 is what lets your Bonneville know who's driving so that the individual preferences can be activated by the car.
You see, Pontiac knows that everyone's different, and that's why each key fob can trigger each individual's particular needs. And while the key fob allows us to access many controls directly, please keep in mind that if your Bonneville is equipped with the optional Driver Information Center, or DIC, many of the settings will have to be enabled in the DIC in order for the key fob to activate them.
For instance, if you're like me, you like to get confirmation that you've actually locked your car when you walk away and press the key fob? Well, thanks to Pontiac, you can set your key fob so that your car's headlights quickly flash and a short beeping sound is heard when your car's been locked.
Right out of the gate, your key fob comes factory programmed so that the headlights are set to flash once when you lock your car with the key fob and twice when you unlock your car with the key fob. And you can leave it that way if it works for you.
Or, if you like, you can set the key fob for some other options, such as having your horn beep, having the lights flash and the horn beep, or perhaps just turning this feature off altogether. It's really up to you.
You can find complete step-by-step instructions for how to program your remote keyless locking and unlocking system, otherwise known as your key fob, in your owner's manual in the section titled Features and Controls. Let's take a second for a quick word or two about some of your Bonneville's features as they relate to your power windows, power door locks, trunk release, and rear door security locks.
Starting with the power windows, your new Bonneville has controls for each window on each door, as well as centrally controlled by a driver's door armrest panel. The switches on each of these doors operate as long as the ignition is turned on, or for as long as your vehicle's retained accessory power, or RAP, stays on. And once again, RAP will stay active for 10 minutes after a vehicle is turned off in order to prevent your battery from draining.
You'll notice that the driver's and front passenger window have an express down feature that allows both windows to lower completely when the auto button is pressed completely rearwards. You'll feel 2 slight detents when you do this. If you want to open the windows in smaller amounts, just press the switch rearward slightly to the first stop.
This brings us to the window lockout feature. This allows the driver to disable all passenger window switches while still giving the driver complete control over their operation. To activate this feature, simply press the lock button located just beneath the window controls on the driver's door armrest. If you want to give your passengers control over their own windows, just press the lock button again. An indicator light will let you know if you've activated this feature.
The power door locks can be controlled from the driver's side through the use of the door-mounted lock switch, as well as individually by each passenger.
Your Bonneville also has a delayed locking feature that allows you to delay the actual locking of your vehicle. When your engine is turned off and the key removed, you can open the driver's side door and press the auto door lock button. A chime will signal 3 times to let you know that the delayed locking feature is active and that once all of your vehicle doors have been closed for more than 5 seconds, the doors will lock. If a door is opened before 5 seconds has passed, the delay will reset itself to wait for another 5 seconds once all the doors are closed again. Pressing the power door lock switch or the lock button on the key fob will override this function.
Your new Bonneville also features rear door security locks. These simple-to-use safety features can be found on the inside edge of your rear doors, and with the simple up or down push of a lever, can prevent passengers in the rear seat from opening their doors from the inside.
And if you happen to have small children, you'll quickly learn to really appreciate the added security and comfort that this feature provides. You can enable the rear door security locks by opening each rear door and moving the lever located on its inside door edge all the way to the lock symbol. Once you close the rear door that the lever controls, it can now only be opened from the outside handle.
To disable this feature and allow the rear passenger doors to operate normally from the inside, simply move the lever on each door's inside edge all the way towards the unlock symbol. It really is quite simple and offers an incredible safety benefit.
Overhead, you may see a sunroof if you selected this option. For those of you who have it, you'll find that your sunroof has both manual and express features for opening the glass panel and the sunshade.
And while it really is quite easy to operate, there are a couple of things to keep in mind. The first of which is that you can employ the Express Open feature by toggling the overhead switch back to the second stop position to get the sunroof to open all the way up on its own.
The second thing is that when you're closing your sunroof, the glass moves forward and then up into place to create a tight seal. So to get the sunroof to close fully, hold the toggle forward until the sunroof stops moving entirely.
The last thing to know is that to open the sunroof to just the vent position, that's where the rear edge of the sunroof lifts up on its own, you have to push the rear edge of the toggle switch up. To close the sunroof from the vent position, you have to pull the rear edge of the toggle switch down.
Simple. And lastly, the remote trunk release option. If you have this feature, you'll find the button located in the glove box. The trunk may be opened with this button whether or not the ignition is turned on, as long as the vehicle is in park or in neutral.
To find out more about your vehicle's windows, doors, optional sunroof, and trunk, please see Section 2 of your owner's manual titled Features and Controls. Some Bonnevilles come equipped with the optional Driver Information Center. Because of the importance of this feature when it comes to personalizing your new Pontiac, we're going to spend the next track talking about it.
So if you're not in a Bonneville with the optional Driver Information Center, please feel free to skip ahead a track.
The Driver Information Center is a communications hub for your new Bonneville. It's a sophisticated system that allows you to get data and information from your car and to further personalize your car's functions.
This really is an amazing system because it brings the level of communication between you and your Bonneville to a whole new level.
The DIC display panel is located within the far right portion of your instrument cluster, with the control panel consisting of 5 buttons located to the immediate right of the instrument panel cluster. The display and the panel work together to give you incredible control and information about your vehicle.
Let's walk through each of the buttons on the control panel, starting at the top with the EM or English metric button. Quite simply, this button allows you to switch the display's units between English and metric units.
Right below the EM button, you'll find the Trip Reset button. This allows you to reset your trip odometer to 0.
So far, so good. The next button is the Mode button. This button allows you to toggle through the various DIC modes, such as Vehicle Data, Personalization Programming, and Compass Calibration.
Below this, the Select button allows you to choose a DIC mode.
And finally, the Reset button. Using this along with other buttons allows you to reset system functions. So let's have a look at some of these right now. To start, press the Mode button until Vehicle Data appears in the DIC display.
Next, let's press the Select button until the display shows Fuel Economy Average. This feature provides you with a long-term average of your fuel consumption.
I need to make an important point here. The average fuel economy feature does not reset automatically. To get an average from a new starting point, you have to press the Reset button for 5 full seconds while the average fuel economy is shown in the DIC.
Press the Select button again and it'll take you to Fuel Economy. Fuel economy varies with your driving conditions, such as acceleration, braking, and the grades of the roads being traveled. Keep in mind that the Reset button does not affect this mode.
Press the Select button again, and the next piece of data you'll see is Fuel Range.
This estimates how much further you can drive without refueling, and this is really amazing. The way it works is that it calculates your average fuel economy for the last 25 miles driven and applies it to the amount of fuel remaining. This then gives you a pretty good idea of how much further you can go on your existing fuel.
Press Select again, and you'll see Fuel Used. This indicator tells you how much fuel has been used since you last reset it. Be careful not to confuse this with the amount of fuel in your tank. To find out how much fuel will be used from a specific starting point, press the Reset button for a full 5 seconds when Fuel Used is shown in the DIC.
Press the Select button again and you'll come across the GM Oil Life System. This is an ingenious system that actually lets you know the state of your engine oil based on temperature and number of engine revolutions.
Your oil life is measured as a percentage starting at 100% for new oil. When the index is within the acceptable operating range, the display will read Oil Life Normal. When your oil's life drops below 10%, the DIC display will show Engine Oil Change Soon, and a message will light up in your console display that reads Oil Life Change.
When you see these indicators, it means that it's time for you to change your oil and get a new oil filter, and that means definitely within the next 2 times that you stop for fuel.
Once you've had your oil and filter changed, you need to reset the oil life system, as it does not reset itself. If you've gotten your oil changed at a GM service center, they'll gladly do it for you. But if you decide to change your oil and filter yourself, follow these steps to reset it. With the oil life shown in the DIC display, press and hold the Reset button for more than 5 seconds. The oil life index will change to 100%.
The GM Oil Life System not only extends the life of your engine, but it also reduces its overall wear and tear by taking into account your actual driving habits and needs. It's a real improvement on the old-fashioned reminder stickers that your service center used to stick to your windshield, not to mention the fact that it saves you money and helps the environment by avoiding unnecessary oil changes.
Of course, it's still a good idea to check your oil yourself on a regular basis so that your oil life system operates more like a backup to your own good maintenance routines.
If you press Select again, the next piece of data that you'll see is tire pressure. Once again, the display will indicate whether the pressure is normal or low. If a potential problem is detected, the DIC display will show a Check Tire Pressure message. If this happens, you'll need to check all 4 of your tires for damage and ensure that they're properly inflated.
This is a great extra safety feature, but it's still very important that you check your tire pressure and their wear and tear for yourself on a regular basis, regardless of whether or not you see a warning message in your DIC display.
Your owner's manual has a more complete discussion on how to maintain your tires so that you can be sure you're getting the safest, most comfortable, and most fuel-efficient ride.
And remember that whenever you adjust the pressure in any or all of your tires, you need to reset the tire pressure in the Driver Information Center. To reset the tire pressure gauge, use the Mode and Select buttons to change the display to tire pressure.
Then push and hold the Reset button for about 5 seconds or until the display reads Tire Pressure Reset.
When you release the button after seeing the Tire Pressure Reset message, the display will change to read Tire Pressure Normal.
Other messages or warnings may appear in the DIC from time to time, so please consult with Section 3 of your owner's manual if you should ever see any of these.
So far, we've looked at how the Driver Information Center lets you know about what's happening with your car, the tire pressure, oil usage, and so on. Now, we're going to look at how you can tell the car a few things about yourself and how you would like the car to operate. We call this DIC Personal Choice Programming.
Personal choice programming takes this whole personalization thing to a new level. It gives you a chance to customize a number of your vehicle's features to work exactly according to your preferences. The features that you can control with DIC Personal Choice Programming are auto door locks, window lockout, security feedback, delayed locking, perimeter lighting, memory seats, outside curb view assist mirrors, and driver ID.
Before we start, remember that your personal choices will correspond with the Driver 1 and Driver 2 profiles, and that means the Driver Number 1 and Driver Number 2 key fobs.
So if you've got your key fob ready, let's get started. To access personal choice programming, turn the ignition to the on position and leave the car in park. If you did not open the door with your own individual key fob, then select Memory 1 or Memory 2 using the memory pad on the driver door panel that corresponds to your unique key fob.
Now, press the Mode button to reach the Personalization Programming display. Then, press the Select button to enter the Personalization Programming mode.
Then, congratulations, you'll have come to your first personalization choice called Driver ID 1 or 2. Simply use the Reset button to toggle back and forth between your choices within a display, and then press Select to choose the current setting and move on to the next personalization feature.
Once you've chosen which driver you are, the DIC is now ready to program all the rest of your personalization options.
Each feature that can be programmed will appear in the display, and once you've made a selection for a feature, the DIC will move you on to the next options. There are detailed instructions describing the personalization portion of the DIC in Section 3 of your owner's manual. But for now, let's explore the options as they are presented to you.
The first two related choices to talk about control the way your doors lock and unlock as you shift from park to drive and back to park. The first choice is called Auto Door Locks. Within this selection, you can use the Reset button to choose whether you want the locks to function automatically by selecting Off or On. Once you've made your selection, press Select.
The next related choice we need to talk about is Unlock. If you choose Off for Auto Door Locks, your door locks will operate normally with no automatic features.
If you chose On for Auto Door Locks, On for Unlock and Key Off, the doors will lock automatically when you shift the car out of park, and they will unlock automatically every time you stop and turn the engine off.
If you select On for Auto Door Locks, On for Unlock and Park, your doors will lock every time you shift out of park, and they will unlock every time you stop and shift back into park.
If you choose On for Auto Door Locks and Off for Unlock, your doors will lock every time you shift out of park, and there will be no automatic unlock when shifting back into park.
If you choose On for Unlock and Driver for Door to Unlock, only the driver's door will automatically unlock when shifting into park or when turning the engine off.
If you choose On for Unlock and All for Door to Unlock, all doors will automatically unlock when shifting into park or when turning the engine off.
This brings us to Window Lockout. This allows you to customize the lock button on your power window console.
With the window lockout option, the driver can disable the individual power window controls to the vehicle's other windows.
By choosing R plus Pass, which stands for Rear Seats plus Front Passenger, the driver can disable the power window controls of all passenger windows when the window lock switch is enabled on the driver's power window console. Or you can choose Rear, in which case the lock switch will only disable the rear window controls. In either case, the driver can still control all of the windows, even when the passenger window controls are disabled.
The next three choices allow you to choose how your Bonneville indicates that the doors are locked or unlocked when you use the key fob.
This option is called Keyless Feedback, and the choice is Off or On. Remember that if you choose On for keyless feedback, you will also need to choose your lights and/or horn feedback.
First of all, if you choose Off for keyless feedback, your car will give no indication when you lock or unlock the doors. So, if you're walking away from your car and you press the lock button on your key fob, you'll receive no indication that the signal was received and that the doors were locked. And if you're walking towards your car and press the key fob, again, you'll receive no indication that the doors were unlocked.
If you decide to choose On for keyless feedback and On for lights feedback, the exterior lights will flash twice when unlocking your vehicle and once when you lock it.
If you choose On for keyless feedback and On for horn feedback, your horn will chirp when locking and unlocking your Bonneville.
If you decide to choose On for keyless, lights, and horn feedback, your lights will flash twice when you press the unlock button once. If you press the unlock button twice, the lights will flash twice and the horn will chirp once.
And when locking your vehicle, the lights will flash once and the horn will chirp once.
The next personal choice to discuss is called Delayed Locking. This feature allows you to program your car to wait 5 seconds after you've closed all of the doors before your vehicle automatically locks them.
Now, this is such a smart feature. I use it all the time when I come home from work. What I do is open the driver's door and press the door lock. Then, before the doors lock, I have time to open the rear door to get my briefcase and other things from the back seat. Then I just close the back door and walk away. 5 seconds later, the doors lock automatically.
The next personal choice to discuss is perimeter lighting. With perimeter lighting, your car's daytime running lights, parking lamps, and backup lamps will all light up if it's dark enough according to your Twilight Sentinel for a period of time that you get to choose between 5 and 30 seconds when you unlock your car in a low-light situation.
So, if you're going out to your Bonneville at night, when you unlock the door from a distance using your key fob, the lights will come on to help you get to your car safely.
If you have the memory seat package, then your next personal choice selection is Seat Recall. With the DIC, if you want your Bonneville to be able to use the settings that you've saved, you need to use the Reset button to choose Seat Recall On. Then you must press Select to lock in your choice.
You can also use this feature to recall your memory seat position or the exit seat position when you unlock your vehicle's doors with your own unique key fob. If you have Seat Recall turned on, you can program it so that your key fob triggers either your preferred memory seating position or your preferred exit position. If you choose memory when the recall position choice appears, then your seat will go to your preset memory position when you use your key fob to enter the vehicle.
If you choose Exit, when the seat recall position choice appears, then your key fob will trigger your seat to move to the position that you established as your exit position. So once again, Pontiac makes things easy for you.
The next item up with the memory seat package is Tilt Mirrors. When this choice is selected, the passenger side mirror will actually move into a downward position whenever you put the car into reverse. This allows you to more easily see the curb on the right side of the vehicle, as well as any obstacles that might be in your way. As you can imagine, this makes parallel parking much easier.
Then, when you move the car out of reverse, the mirror will pause for a few seconds and then return to your normal preferred setting.
Next up for everyone is the driver ID, and this is very simple. If this feature is on, then the driver ID number is shown in the DIC whenever the ignition is turned on.
As you can see, the Driver Information Center really does offer an incredibly powerful series of features, and it brings personalization to a whole new level.
And lastly, let's talk about the electronic compass that comes with your DIC.
As we all know, a compass determines the direction that you're heading by sensing the Earth's magnetic field. But depending on where we live, true north is not always the same as we know it to be, and for this reason you have to choose your zone number. This is a simple process, but to correctly determine your zone, you need to consult with the chart in Chapter 3 of your owner's manual.
It really is an easy step to do, but sometimes, even after setting your zone, your compass may experience interference from a strong magnetic source, such as a magnetic antenna mount, or it may simply need to be calibrated.
And this is also pretty easy to do because you can usually calibrate the system yourself.
First, drive to an open and flat space. Then, press the Mode button until you see Compass Calibration in your DIC display. Press Select until you see Press Reset to Calibrate. Then, press the Reset button.
The display will then change to Drive Slowly in Small Circles. And then that's exactly what you have to do by driving in a circle at less than 10 miles per hour until the message Calibration Complete appears in your DIC.
And there you have it, just about everything you could ever want to know about your DIC.
It's just another great way that your Bonneville works to give you a safe and comfortable driving environment. But be sure to check out Section 3 of your owner's manual titled The Instrument Panel to find out more.
Your new Bonneville comes equipped with an assortment of air comfort systems that may include in some vehicles Pontiac's automatic climate control system.
But before we get to that, let's take a second to talk about the basic heating and air cooling system. And just like almost everything else in your new Bonneville, it's a breeze to operate.
If you do not have the automatic climate control system, your climate controls will feature two knobs to control the fan speed as well as the temperature setting. Both of these can be simply adjusted by turning the knobs as directed by the visual cues.
And the system will also have 8 buttons. These include a floor defog button that directs most air to the floor outlets, with some to the side window and windshield vents, and a floor button that directs the air to your legs.
Next across, you have the bi-level vent button that directs some of the air to the floor and some of the air to the mid-level vents. At the far right is the vent button. This directs most of the air out of the mid-level vents.
On the bottom row of buttons, you have the front and rear defrost buttons.
The thing to remember here is that when the need arises to defog or defrost the front windshield, be sure to press the front defrost button to maximize the feature's efficiency.
The rear defogger uses a warming grid to remove fog or frost from the window, so be careful to never use a sharp object against the inside of the rear window or apply any decals, tape, or other sticky substance to it, as this may cause serious damage to your defogger grid.
And while we're talking about the defogger grid, one of your radio's adaptive reception system antenna is located just above the defogger grid on the rear window, and in fact, looks a lot like the top few lines of the defogger itself. And as these lines are for the radio and not for the defogger, this section of your rear window may not immediately defog until the interior climate of your cabin can effect a change.
Oh, and as a quick side thought about your antenna, be sure to never apply a metallic tint or otherwise similar decal to your rear window or windshield, as this type of application will dramatically reduce your reception abilities.
Getting back to the climate control system, right beside the defrost buttons, you have the air recirculation button, which either allows outside air to come into your vehicle or keeps the air inside. This is a handy button when you want your Bonneville to heat up or cool down more quickly.
And finally, you have the air conditioner button. Pressing this button turns the air conditioning compressor on and off.
Now, if your new Bonneville has the optional automatic climate control system, then this next part's for you.
Your Bonneville has 5 separate sensor placements to monitor the temperature inside your car, including a solar sensor located in the center of the instrument panel near the windshield. For this to operate properly, please ensure that nothing ever covers it.
It really is the ultimate in Pontiac driver and passenger comfort. To control the individual settings for the driver, all you have to do is access the climate panel that houses the following buttons and knobs: driver push off, fan speed, auto, mode, pass push off, front defrost, rear defog, outside air, recirculation, and AC.
The control panel also houses a display for driver and passenger comfort settings, outside air temperature, mode, and fan speed. If you're changing a setting, the setting changes will be displayed. But after you complete your changes, the display will automatically revert back to showing the outside air temperature.
Dual automatic climate control allows you to pre-select the temperature for the inside of your Bonneville, just like you might do with your home thermostat. In fact, the system will let you select a temperature as low as 60 degrees and as high as 90 degrees.
All you have to do is dial in your most comfortable setting with the driver push-off knob, then press the auto button, and in no time at all, the cabin will reach your desired setting.
Just keep in mind that when you first start up your vehicle, it's going to take a few minutes for your Bonneville systems to get to the point where they can efficiently manage your interior temperature.
So if your car's been parked outside in a snowbank or sweltering in the hot sun for a few hours, please allow your Bonneville a short time to clear the uncomfortable air out of its duct system and prepare to provide the desired temperature.
And while this is happening, you may notice that the fan will initially operate at a reduced level so as not to blow this uncomfortable air on you.
But rest assured that your system is designed to automatically reach your desired temperature as fast as possible. So when it's ready, it'll start to blow out air at an increased rate until your cabin temperature has either heated up or cooled down to your desired temperature. Then, once this temperature has been reached, the system will reduce the amount of effort it exerts and settle into a quieter fan speed and maintenance mode.
Another intelligent feature that your Bonneville uses to keep the air fresh and circulating all around you is to slightly vary the temperature of the air coming out of the vents.
You see, let's say that you have your inside temperature set to about 80 degrees to keep you warm against those cold autumn nights. Well, your Bonneville knows that in order for you to experience the maximum benefits of circulating air, that it needs to keep the cabin air moving.
And we all know that hot air rises, so to keep the flow fresh, your Bonneville occasionally either drops or raises the temperature of the air coming out of your vents a little above or below where you have it set.
So, if the warm air blowing on your face suddenly feels a tad cooler, that's just your air management system making sure that the air inside your vehicle stays fresh and moving and helps to keep you alert. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the fresh air, knowing that your Bonneville is always working to make your cabin temperature just right.
But hang on a second. Did you know that the automatic climate control system can really be thought of as being two systems in one?
First off, you can either be in automatic mode and preset the inside temperature of your entire vehicle as we just did, or you can be in the dual mode. And this lets you set one temperature for the driver's side of the front seats.
And lets your passenger set another temperature for his or her side to within 5 degrees of the driver's side.
Again, it's all about comfort.
All the passenger has to do to enable this setting is
dial in their own comfort setting using the pass push off knob on the control panel.
Isn't that amazing? Variable temperature control for both the driver
and the passenger.
One last thing to remember about your automatic climate control system is that if you ever feel that it might feel more comfortable if it were doing something different, then all you have to do is override the system by selecting the mode or fan speed of your choice. To find out even more about your heating and air conditioning systems, please consult Section 3 of your owner's manual in the section titled The Instrument Panel. Delivering pleasure and excitement on the open road, your new Bonneville has been engineered to maximize its responsive sense of performance.
So if this is your first Bonneville, chances are its solid road-hugging steering, combined with the aggressive, confidence-building characteristics of its tires and sleek, wind-slicing body design, will instill in you the power and the freedom to unleash your pure driving instincts like never before.
But keep in mind that because your Pontiac is tuned towards performance, your steering may at first seem a little firm. But after you get the chance to handle curves and straightaways like a hot knife through butter, you'll soon be glad that you decided not to settle for anything less.
In fact, this ability to not only feel the road, but to hear it and become an active part of it is what being a Bonneville driver is all about. It's about leaving the passive behind and opening up your senses, of becoming one with your car, of becoming aware of your environment.
But with this ability comes responsibility. So let's take a minute to find out about some fuel economy tips, about the need for regular fluid checks, and about your Pontiac's vehicle self-monitoring system.
These are all some easy things that you can pay attention to in order to ensure the lasting performance of your new car.
First off, let's talk about fuel economy. And please keep in mind here that many of your new Bonneville systems require a break-in period of about 500 miles before actual system's performance and gas consumption can be properly gauged.
You can find out more about your vehicle's break-in period in Section 2 of your owner's manual titled Features and Controls.
It might seem pretty straightforward at first, but in reality, whether you drive on city streets or on the highway, whether you're driving up hills or using the air conditioning, or whether you closely follow the speed limit or have a heavy foot, each one will affect the kind of gas mileage that you get.
That's right, but there are a number of things that you can do to maximize how many miles to the gallon you get.
First, following the speed limit will have a significant effect on your fuel consumption. A difference of even 5 or 10 miles an hour can substantially affect your vehicle's average fuel efficiency.
Second, whenever possible, try to avoid quick stops and sudden acceleration. This kind of driving requires additional fuel to respond to your demands, so the smoother you drive, the better your fuel efficiency will be. Your fuel economy will gradually improve over time as your engine establishes its optimum performance range. This will be especially noticeable over the first few tanks of fuel.
Another thing you can do to get the best fuel efficiency is to check your tires on a regular basis. Make sure they're filled to the proper air pressure. Under or overinflating your tires has a dramatic impact on fuel efficiency.
And finally, and this is without a doubt one of the most important tips of all, have your vehicle regularly serviced. A well-maintained vehicle will typically consume 15% less fuel.
Oh, and hey, as we've mentioned performance, for those of you who've opted for the optional performance package on your new Bonneville, the one that came complete with 18-inch tires, increased horsepower, dynamic road-hugging handling, and enhanced engine reactions, you can naturally expect that your increased power and responsiveness will have an impact on your overall mileage results in direct proportion to your driving style.
Your Pontiac owner's manual has a recommended maintenance schedule, and following it closely is one of the smartest things that you can do to extend the life of your vehicle.
Your Bonneville's adaptive transmission is a unique and powerful feature that you might not know much about.
You see, while you're learning about your Bonneville is actually learning about you.
We all have different driving habits. This we already know. But the way that we drive a car can greatly affect the vehicle's ability to automatically shift gears.
And that's where your Bonneville's adaptive learning system comes in. The system sets up a profile for every person driving the car. And in this profile, it records the pressure applied to the gas pedal and creates a formula where it can anticipate and react to your individual driving style.
The benefit of this learning is that the response that you get when you press down on the accelerator when your vehicle has 5,000 miles on it will be the same response time that you'll get when your vehicle has 100,000 miles on it.
It's about maximizing performance. But just as we don't expect you to be able to get into your new Pontiac and immediately know how every system works, your adaptive transmission won't immediately know what kind of driver you are. In fact, for every driver profile that your Bonneville establishes, it'll take about 1,000 miles before it can accurately calculate your most likely driving pattern.
This means that you'll notice that the transmission shifts between gears will become smoother over time. So try not to worry about any shifts that feel unusual for the first little while. After all, your Pontiac is just learning.
Your new Bonneville comes equipped with standard ABS brakes, with traction control available as an optional feature.
ABS stands for Anti-Lock Braking System, and it's one of the most technologically advanced ways to help you maintain control and avoid dangerous braking skids.
ABS brakes work through a computer that receives information on wheel speed and manages brake pressure so you can maintain steering control.
Like many other systems on your new Pontiac, ABS brakes benefit from a break-in period, and this is usually about 200 miles. But you can be confident that they'll be there for you from the very first second that you need them.
When you activate the ABS system, you may feel the brake pedal pulse slightly or hear some unusual noise, but this is perfectly normal, and it lets you know that the system is working for you.
That's the electronic system pumping and adjusting the necessary braking pressure to each tire to ensure increased stopping efficiency while maintaining greatly improved steering ability.
That's right, and that's why it's important for you to maintain a constant pressure on your brakes until you come to a complete stop. In fact, this is even more important in emergency braking situations.
Especially in emergency braking situations. A constant pressure on your brakes is the best way of allowing the ABS system to kick in and help with your safety.
And speaking of safety, traction control is a terrific option.
You're not kidding. And it's especially useful when you encounter slippery road conditions like rain, sleet, snow, or ice, to name a few.
Traction control engages itself and operates on its own when it senses that one or both of the front wheels are spinning.
It actually works to prevent the wheels from spinning, and this in turn helps you maintain control of your vehicle.
And if your traction control does ever become activated, it'll sound as though your engine might be stalling or hesitating.
But this is perfectly normal. In fact, it's a perfect sign that the system is working exactly as it's supposed to. Remember, the system is designed to prevent your wheels from spinning and losing traction.
And because you can never really ever account for the unexpected, it's best to almost always leave your traction control on.
If you'd like more information about both ABS brakes and traction control, please have a look at the section of your owner's manual titled Driving Your Vehicle.
HomeLink is an optional safety and convenience feature that allows you to control, through one car-mounted unit, the activation features of many of your home's RF frequency control devices, like your automatic garage door opener, your outside lighting, and entry gates.
Located on the vehicle's ceiling right above the rearview mirror, HomeLink is easy to operate and takes only minutes of setup time. To program your HomeLink system to be able to operate your home's remote controls, make sure that your remote control transmitters have good, strong batteries in them. And then you simply have to follow the instructions outlined in Section 2 of your owner's manual titled Features and Controls. Then, after everything's been set up, there'll be no more need to carry any additional remote controls with you. Your Bonneville will be able to do it all.
And lastly, let's talk about a very special optional feature. OnStar. OnStar is a hands-free communication system that offers a range of safety, security, and convenience services.
OnStar is a complete communications service that uses the Global Positioning System, or GPS, cellular communication, and call centers staffed with live advisors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year.
So, for example, if you run out of gas or are involved in some sort of emergency on the road, you simply press the OnStar button. A call is sent directly to an OnStar advisor who can locate your vehicle and contact assistance if needed.
Or, if your airbags deploy in an accident, a signal is automatically sent to OnStar, where an advisor will attempt to speak with you and determine whether or not to notify local emergency service providers to respond to your location.
If your vehicle should ever be stolen, OnStar can help authorities attempt to locate it by using the Global Positioning System. If you lock your keys in your vehicle, an advisor can send a signal to unlock your doors. In both of these situations, simply call OnStar at 1-888-4-OnStar, and an advisor will be there to help you.
Another amazing feature is the OnStar Remote Diagnostic Service. If a warning light appears, you only have to press the OnStar button, and an advisor can run a check of your vehicle's vital systems and let you know the severity of the problem. Many times, the problem can be solved quickly, like, for instance, tightening a loose gas cap.
OnStar's one little button can provide a lot of peace of mind. Of course, there are many other services available through OnStar, including a hands-free, voice-activated phone for making and receiving calls. To learn more, press the white button next to the OnStar button and say Help, or refer to the OnStar Owner Guide in your glove box.
From roadside emergency assistance to remote diagnostics, OnStar really is an incredible service. Your first year of service is included with your new Pontiac. Beyond your first year, refer to your OnStar Owner Guide or visit www.onstar.com. Or if you wish, simply press the OnStar button to speak with an advisor to renew your subscription.
Your OnStar system is active as soon as you take delivery of your new Bonneville, and the personal calling should be set up within a few days. Just press the OnStar button to speak to an advisor or to listen to a demonstration.
If you'd like more information about both HomeLink and OnStar, please be sure to consult with your owner's manual. We'd like to thank you for joining us on this CD tour of your new Pontiac Bonneville. And while we realize we haven't covered everything, we hope we've given you a good start on the road to making your Bonneville distinctively your own.
We take great pride in all of our GM products and services, and if we can ever be of any assistance to you, please do not hesitate to contact your nearest GM dealership.
So, until the next time we meet, we wish you many years of safe and pleasurable driving. And we'd like you to know that we'll always consider you one of our family.
The General Motors family. Thank you for joining us.
Goodbye, and take good care.